it's not a case that, you get aroused by porn and then you can go, okay, I'm just going to direct all of that arousal towards my partner. We tested it, and that's certainly not what we found. What we found is that when you are aroused by somebody that's not your partner, your focus, your attention, your motivations, your behavior is directed towards the object of your sexual arousal, the sexually arousing stimulus. And obviously, in the case of porn, that's not your partner, that's away from your partner.
We are often asked, is pornography cheating? Is watching pornography cheating? But I would be curious to know how you would respond to that with this idea of connection and disconnection.
Anytime you are throwing in your efforts, your energies, your attention, your focus, your time into things that are not going to be good for the relationship, then in some way you're doing the relationship a disservice. Absolutely. And if those things are things that in your understanding of your relationship should be kind of solely for your relationship, i.e., like your sexual system, right? If you go, I wouldn't want my sexual system directed towards anybody else, like, because that's unique for us, like, that's why we're in this relationship, then if you're watching porn, you're doing that. So absolutely, I think in those instances it would be akin to cheating. And to give a comparison, maybe just for those who feel uncomfortable about that response. So let's say there's a couple where one of them has a very close emotional connection with someone of the opposite sex. They're a heterosexual couple, and they share a lot. Right? They share their feelings. They spend a lot of time talking and connecting and whatnot. That to some people will be okay. The other person will feel okay with that. That doesn't necessarily mean it's not having a negative impact on the relationship. So that's the other thing. Like, whether we call it cheating or not, that doesn't mean it's not having a negative impact on the relationship,
Right.
even if the partner doesn't have an issue with it. And I see that a lot as well, where couples come in and they go, well, everybody uses porn, don't they? That kind of thing. I can't be upset at them for it, can I? Like, uh, or, it doesn't bother me kind of thing. That doesn't mean that it's not actually pulling you away from your partner. And maybe I can just jump ahead here. Essentially what we found with my research, when you use porn, the more aroused you are by it, the more often you are aroused by it, the more likely you are to pay attention to attractive alternatives. And that's a technical term for other people that aren't your partner. The more likely you are to see those people as viable options. So, like, to actually consider them as like a relationship partner or a sexual partner, the more likely you are to engage in infidelity. Surprise, surprise, given those first two I just mentioned. We also know you're more likely to sexually objectify other people that aren't your partner.